Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Wanted to kind of talk about this SG more and kind of some reasons, 5 reasons that I really love the SG. Again, for me, most of these are going to be opinion based, some may be factual, but I'd really be curious to hear your guys' reasons. If you like SGs, if you don't. If you've seen in some of my other videos, I've had this guitar for about 2 months now, and I'm just like in love with it. I mean, I haven't played any other guitar since I got this. This has been my go-to every time I come out to the garage here. This has been my go-to guitar. I've been playing it every day. Haven't touched my Les Pauls, my Strats, the Charvels, nothing. I've just been playing this one like every day. It's making me play more. It's making me practice more. It's just, I mean, it fits me so well, and those are some of the things, that I'll talk about here. But again, most of this is going to be opinion based. As I said, I'd love to hear, your thoughts on the SG. I've owned a couple SGs in my lifetime since I started playing guitar in the early 90s. I've had a lot of Epiphone SGs. I've had a Gibson SG Tribute, but I've never had an SG Standard. This is the first time I've ever had a standard Gibson. And that SG Tribute that I had that about a year or so ago, and I don't know, I just didn't like it. It didn't jive with me. That's kind of why when I wanted this one, I was a little hesitant because of my experience with that one. It wasn't bad. It just didn't fit me. It's kind of like a pair of shoes that, yeah, you could probably walk around in them, but they're going to start to hurt your feet. They might be a little too tight or a little too big. It just doesn't, they're not, there's nothing, it's not terrible. It's just that thing. This one doesn't have that. Like from the second I picked this up at Guitar Center, minus the setup, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it here right now if you want to see the story of this guitar. But ever since I picked it up, and minus the setup issues, I just like, man, it just fits like me perfectly. Again, like a perfect pair of shoes, great shirt, pair of jeans, whatever it is. So I've really been digging this guitar, and so I just wanted to kind of go over some of the reasons why I really, really like it. One thing I ask people sometimes when we're just having conversations is when you see a guitar, what do you think of? Like, what is it? What song does it make you think of? If you are walking around a guitar store or you see one on TV, not somebody playing it, just maybe you see one in the background, you see one hanging, in a movie or something like that. Like, what is there a song that it makes you think of? For me, SG, I mean, there's so many. The first person that comes to mind when I see a Gibson SG is Angus Young. That's who it comes for me. That's going to depend really probably on when you grew up and the first time you saw one. But and one of the riffs that comes to mind as soon as I see an SG is usually always this one. That one, or that one, and the Thunderstruck, of course, the riff for that, but I'm not going to play that because I actually never learned that one. But this guitar is making me learn songs that I never learned before just because I'm sitting here and I want to learn something new. So anyway, I would say the first reason I'm just going to kind of go is the look. Now this is subjective, of course, but I love the look of these. I always have, just from the body style here, right? These awesome curves, the beveling, the horns, you call them at the top. It always reminded me of like a devil, right? Just, I don't know, the horns on the side. I just love the way it looks. They're very comfortable for me to play. I mean, this is probably the thinnest guitar I've ever owned. I have an Epiphone SG sitting right here, and this Gibson is way thinner. I mean, this part, let me do it this side actually. This is like, I mean, it's so thin right here. It just fits on my body perfectly. It's super thin. The weight of it, of course, is another. So that's the reason number one is the look. I just love the look of these things. I just think they've always looked cool. Number two, I would say, is the weight. I just weighed this thing inside. It's coming just under 6 pounds. I would say roughly, for calibration of scales, we'll just call it 6 pounds. That is super light for a guitar, 6 pounds. I could, I play this thing standing up all the time. I don't get, the Les Paul neck ache, shoulder ache. My Les Paul is a little bit over, I don't remember exactly what it weighs. I want to say close to 10 pounds. So, I mean, you're talking about almost a 4-pound difference in a guitar. That's a lot, especially if you're, walking around on a stage or something. Now, if you don't gig, I don't really gig anymore, but I do stand in here. I like to stand up and play. The weight of this thing is just excellent for that. Again, it's super light, right? Like I've seen, it's easy to pick up, right? You can pick it up with your pinky. I mean, it's like super light, which I really, really like. So that's number two, is the weight. Number three is the, ease of access to the frets. I mean, on a Les Paul now, I am just an average size guy. I'm 5'9", so I'm not like a really tall person. I don't have big hands either, right? A lot of times when I'm watching videos, like for these Hendrix chords, a lot of times where I can't do, it's very hard for me to do the chord where you make the chord and then you put I can't do like the thumb over the top. I can't do it. When I was trying to learn Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam, that's what I know he does, that where he uses the chord and he puts the thumb over top of it. I can't do that. I can do it down here, but I can't do it up here. And that's just because my fingers are short. So with an SG, I don't have to make like crazy stretches. I can reach all the way up to the very last fret. On my Les Paul, I have to, because I don't have long fingers, I have to either like really maneuver my hand to get in there, or if I'm standing up, a lot of times I actually have to like put my knee down, and if I'm doing a solo and I have to play it like upright like this in order to get access to those high frets. With this, and especially up here, I don't have to do that. Again, I have smaller hands. I can reach all the way up here. If I'm playing a slide or something, I can move the slide all the way up here because of this nice cutout, and the neck is, up more. So that's number three, is, access to the high frets with no strain at all. I feel like SGs have all of the, same characteristics of a Les Paul, just in a different shape. I know there's going to be some people, Les Paul's got more wood, more resonance, whatever. Again, all that stuff is subjective. Technically, yes, it has more wood, but I don't know if I came out here and plugged in my Les Paul, if it would sound much different. I mean, that's going to be mostly like here pickup wise and how you play. I don't know that there's going to be a ton of sound difference in there, but there's definitely a feel difference. Another thing that I've seen people talk about is, I don't have the problem on this guitar, and it's probably because of this strap. Number 4 would be the neck dive. I don't have neck dive on this. I'll see if I can. Now I'm sure that has to do with the strap, because this is a leather strap, so leather tends to stay. So if I just stand up here, right, there's no neck dive. It's not moving at all. And again, I'm pretty sure that has to do with the strap, because it's a leather strap, and a nylon strap like this one, I'd have to put it on and see. But I mean, if I already know this doesn't neck dive, then I don't really know why I would get a different strap. It's comfortable. Again, this guitar only weighs almost 6 pounds. Again, I'll just call it 6. So I don't need like a super thick, padded strap here. I can't remember what this muscle's called. Is this your what is this called? Well, whatever this muscle here is, I can't, it's kind of eluding me right now. But whatever that muscle is, your traps, right? Your trap muscle. I tore that about 6 or 7 years ago. I was carrying my son on my shoulders. You know, we were walking on the canal, and my wife texted me. She's like, "You got to get home quick." I can't remember what the reason was, but I literally like ran down the canal with my son on my shoulders, and it, you know, because he was like, I guess 5 or 6 at the time, and I actually tore my trap on this side because of that. So playing guitar, you know, right-handed, this is always pushing down on it. So having a very light guitar, it really helps that a lot. Number 5 is, I just think, again, kind of related to number 1, they're just cool looking. You know, to me, it's aesthetically pleasing. It sits perfect on your leg here, either this way, or if you play classically this way, right? There's no issue, at least for me. Turn it up. It sits on your leg perfectly. There's no issue. A Les Paul, usually when I'm playing the Les Paul, it's like back more like this, just again the way it sits. But because the neck is out more, it does take a minute to get used to it. At least for me, when I first picked one up, it felt like I was like out here. But you know, after playing it again, it's fine. I've adjusted to it. And the same thing with this Les Paul Junior, this Les Paul Junior copy I have. It has like the same, you know, fret access here, right, all the way up at the top there. I think that's important, again, for me. You know, I was watching an interview with Angus Young, and it's readily available on YouTube. A lot of people have played it, but he was talking about, you know, they're like, why did you get an SG? Well, he said, well, I'm a little guy. Like, I think he's only like 5'3" or 5'4" or something like that. And he said, I'm a little guy. You know, these Les Pauls, I mean, he's a small guy running around the Les Paul. The crazy antics he does on stage. Man, there's a lot of flies in here. Crazy antics he does on stage, like running around with a Les Paul. That's crazy. You know, that just wouldn't suffice. So he said, you know, his hands are small. He's a small guy. God damn, these flies, man, they're killing me. He's a small guy, so he said the SG, and he's the one who picked it up with one finger. It's great for running across the stage. Again, it has 6 pounds. You know, I don't know how much his weighs, but, and when I heard that, when I saw that interview a long time ago, I'm like, well, maybe I should check out an SG then. So that's when I first got into one, because again, I'm taller than him, but I have small hands, and I've always had that problem where making big stretches, it's hard. It hurts my hand. I don't really have that problem on this guitar. Now, playing the chords that like the Hendrix style chord with the thumb over the top, that's just something I'm never going to be able to do. So I have to figure out a way around that, right? I have to play the whole chord and then like quickly switch to stuff. But you know, after I saw that interview with Angus Young, I was like, okay, well, it's good enough reason for me. I'll at least give it a try and see, you know, how I like them. And again, after I did that, it's like the perfect guitar. So those are my reasons for owning one. Again, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on why you either like them or don't like them. Please always leave a comment. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.